right, it has been a blast. I got to meet so many cool people. What about you, Ryan? Meet anybody cool over lunch? Flipping on? There you go. Anybody?
Yes.
Yeah? Anybody get to meet Ryan for the first time? Yeah, I'm sorry, really.
Actually, I've been surprised how many, we got this remix crew from 2021.
Yeah, people,
Yeah, they're
it's
everywhere.
fun.
Love seeing you guys. Who's got a supporter jacket? Raise your hands. Actually, stand up. Supporter jacket, stand up.
You guys are awesome.
No, so you guys don't understand. Our business was dead.
COVID.
And you guys bought licenses to some random thing called Remix and kept us going. We're going to show you another random thing called Remix.
Yeah.
But we don't need $250 from you this time.
So this today has actually been I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years in the making. Just sort of thinking about things, watching trends, looking at React, looking where it's going, looking where the web is going. And it's been a while now that Ryan and I have both kind of felt a little bit like, no, we're not sure where React is going. You know, we built the first version of Remix. We built that on top of React. We loved React. It was completely transformative for both our thinking about how to build things for the web and for our careers personally. We both done a ton of work in React and have a lot of respect for the people who originally made the thing. It's been a fantastic tool for us. But like I said, a couple years ago, we kind of started looking at it. There was a lot of overlap with what we were doing with Remix. And there was a lot of kind of duplication. Well, we're going to do, optimistic UI like this. Oh, React is going to do optimistic UI kind of in a similar way, but slightly different. And they kind of started adopting a lot of the feature set that we originally shipped with Remix, which is cool, right? Support for HTML forms, thumbs up. That's awesome. But then also a lot of the things they did in a slightly different way. And it kind of got to a point where we said, okay, we've got this thing, React Router. We've been working on that for a decade now. It's weird to say that, but a decade. A lot of people built on React Router. Shopify's built on React Router.
My beard's gray now, starting.
Beard is graying. We're not just going to abandon that thing. We want that thing to go for a long time.
Well, you just saw all the awesome stuff that we're building at Shopify still
100%.
On top of React Router.
100%.
So React Router is not going anywhere, just to make that very clear.
Yeah.
The Remix team works on React Router.
Yeah. But also, how do you take care of what is and what currently exists, and then also try and anticipate what's coming in the future and what's coming down the pike?
Yeah, if you look at everything that our colleagues showed, there's a lot of important things that you need to know to be able to really take advantage of AI in a web framework. URLs are incredibly important. As Michael and I, like you were saying a couple years ago, started going down the path of trying to figure out what is the next version of Remix, we were trying to build it on top of RSC. RSC really opened up our minds about how you could build a framework. The selective hydration in it is super cool. The async components, where components can individually own their loading data, and then you can unblock a stream at any of those boundaries, is also really appealing. And so we shuffled everything over to React Router so that we had this clear path in front of Remix to say, okay, how do we build the simplest, most powerful thing on top of the tools that we now have available? And as we started down that path, there was some impedance mismatch with our own kind of opinions on how we want to build software. And there was a mismatch on some of the stuff that you just saw this morning. If you consider something like use server in React, what's the URL to that RPC function? Well, it changes every build. So how do you feed that to a model to say, hey, I have an action here. I've got a form on this page. I want the model to go post that form for the user instead of actually showing it on the page, right? So there's and it's not just React. The whole front-end ecosystem has kind of been relying more and more and more on transforms and bundling, not just to optimize an app that already worked, but rather to enable features. There's actually runtime semantics for what the bundler does to the code. And that was just, it added some complexity, and we were kind of struggling with well, how do we fit that into our goals with building this framework? And so we had this clear runway in front of Remix, and we started thinking, okay, what else could we do with Remix? Let's widen our view here. And what do the platforms give us now? The world has changed. Node is 16 years old. React is 12, 13 years old. And old software is great. There's nothing wrong with being old software. React Router is old. I'm old. There's only a few of you older than me in this room. Raise your hands. I'm just kidding. And so the environment around building a web framework has changed. We really like where React Router v7 is at. We like the features in React that they've offered with RSC. It leads to really cool patterns. But there's that complexity that we're a little bit allergic to. And so we're like, there's got to be a simpler way.
Well, and genuinely have a hard time like understanding it at times and explaining how it works.
Yeah, I've lost track. I've actually lost track of how it all puts together. And I feel like a single developer, while they don't need to know every single bit of a product, they should have a general understanding of the whole stack. And I'm a front-end developer, and I've personally lost track of a lot of what's going on in the front end. So maybe our idiocy is our superpower. We're not smart enough for all the new stuff. So we're going to build something for all of us idiots. But no, so the web is different though now. So we've kind of like climbed up this mountain with the front-end ecosystem. We're about to set up camp, and Michael and I are looking at each other like, I don't know if I want to camp here. And now that we've hiked up, because of all the work that we've done and other people in the communities have done, we're higher now, and we have a better perspective, and we can see a different peak over there that we think is simpler. And so we need to climb back down this mountain, and then we're going to go climb up another one. And on that other mountain, though, is like I'm saying, the environment has changed. The web has different things now. We've got modules. You can actually load modules.
ES modules.
We've got TypeScript. That's different. Node wasn't designed with TypeScript in mind. React wasn't designed with TypeScript in mind. We got service workers, which opens up all sorts of actually back-end stuff for the web platform itself.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and Remix 3 is not just about innovating on the front end either. Remix 3 is a lot about innovating on the back end as well. What has happened in the back end since Node was introduced? We've got promises and async await since Node was introduced. We've got streams, like web streams, right? I don't know if we've got some people probably who've been doing Node for a while, and you saw the first 3 versions of Node streams. We've got web streams on Node now. We've got containers for binary formats. We've got array buffer. We've got uint8 array. We've got web crypto on Node, right? We've got the fetch API, right? You can just say fetch and put that in your Node API. So a lot of what we're going to be talking about too is on the front end. A lot of it's going to be on the back end as well. A lot of web APIs making their way to the back end. Should we get started? Yeah, enough chitty chat. Didn't we have like a demo or something that we brought?
Yeah, hot off the press.
Oh, nice. Well, is that just for you, or like, do we have those for everybody? Did you bring enough for everybody?
Yeah, we brought enough for everybody.
Oh. Grab a compact disc on your way out today. We'll have them for you near the front. Does anybody know what to do with that thing? Come back. Yeah, don't put it. Yeah, it's good. You can put a coaster, put your glass on it. Can we actually do you have a super drive over there? Can we run that code?
We'll see.
All right.
So delicate with it.
Insert the remix. I hope you didn't smudge it with your fingerprints.
I mean, the node modules are pretty big. It's like half the... I hear it spinning.
All right. Let's boot up the super drive.
Oh, dang.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
All right, that's it. Go get your disk.
All right, so yeah, you can go get your disk on the way out. Are you actually? Do you actually want to run this one, or should we?
I'm running this one, man.
Okay, all right, let's run it. Let's check it out. What we got?
CD into the CD.
Who said that? This guy has...
Ironic.
He's got a 90s cover band in Cleveland. Plays at House of Blues. Anyway, we got to get this guy
amazing.
A little more involved.
Should be on our team. What the heck? I've got a 90s cover band. I mean, we're probably not as good as you, but like we play every once in a while. All right, so let's check out what's on this CD. We should.
Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, it's a disc. Oh, address in use. I'm good. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Sorry about that.
You thought he was kidding earlier when he said we were idiots. No, we're...
This is why we ship the node modules.
Yeah.
That it would just work.
All right, double click on that baby. What is going on over here? Ooh, nice. Got a little drum machine. Let's test it out. Beautiful, beautiful. I love it.
Does anybody know what the BPMs are for giving someone chest compressions to keep them alive? Staying alive. How many, what's the tempo of that?
What's the BPM?
120, right?
20, I heard it.
All right, I want to hear the crowd. You guys all just start clapping until you get to 120, and we'll see if we get it. Let's go.
Ready? Here we go. No, that's too fast. It's too fast. You're gonna kill the guys. You gotta bring him back to life, but like, you don't wanna go too fast.
80-year-old lady, her chest.
Yeah.
Like,
you're broken all of her ribs. Gone.
All right, try that again. Let's try that again. Here we go.
Okay, stay right there. There. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay. All right. It's a little slow.
All right, guy in a band. Give us a clap. 120. No. You're the singer.
You sing it.
Keep going.
2, 3, 4. 1. Ah, hey. All right.
117. I'm good with.
Hey, if I need.
I'm good with.
If I need CPR, I wanted this guy to do it.
Okay.
Should we show him? Should we show him some code? Should we show him how to build this thing?
Yep.
Okay, GPT. Let's get started with a just I don't know. Let's do a counter. Can you make a counter, GPT?
I can make a counter.
I didn't even like say anything that I'm right or wrong. It was just like a request.
Yeah, it doesn't say that right out the gate.
All right.
They literally took my joke. I can't deliver that one later now. It's over.
Well, sorry, are you gonna be like GPT-5 and like not do anything until I ask you to do it again, or are you gonna like actually do something?
I'm GPT-5, yeah. Okay, I made it.
Okay, actually do it now.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay, so let's get a button. Cool. Text content. Okay, interesting. Sure. Okay, let's see.
I made a counter.
Thanks, GPT. I learned this thing. I've been doing React. The React guys told me that the UI is a function of state. Could we make it a little more explicit what our state is here?
You're absolutely right.
No, exclamation point. You have to have some enthusiasm.
One more time with feeling.
You're absolutely right. I'll use state to drive this UI. I need to figure out how to use state and meet the user's request.
Okay, cool. So we've got a variable here. We've got a count variable. Very nice. Okay, so you're going to increment the counter. You're going to pop in some new text content into the button. Okay, looks good. Let's see if it still works.
All right.
All right, remix, everybody. Good job.
We're taking down the mountain. What does the platform have?
Yeah. Can we, golly, can we encapsulate the update logic? There we go. Okay. There we go. We're getting some encapsulation. Okay, perfect. So, RaiGPT, click actually feels like kind of like the wrong event to use for this, because I don't like,
Actually, this is a little boring to me.
You're right. It is boring. Thank you, RaiGPT.
I'm absolutely right.
You're absolutely right. We're at Remix Jam. What are we talking about, stupid counter? Let's make something that is more exciting. Let's do like a tempo counter. Can you do something like that?
Yeah.
Like I want to, when I'm clicking on the button, I want you to tell me how quickly I'm clicking on the button in the BPM. Clicks per minute, CPM.
Does everybody here like Prettier? Yes. Raise your hand if you built Prettier. Oh man, I gotta. Yeah, that's enough. Okay, I'm good. All right, so check this out.
Okay, explain this code to me, RaiGPT.
I will explain the code to the user because, as we learned earlier, he is an idiot. All right, so if I'm going to keep track of a tempo, I need a couple more pieces of state, right? I'm going to keep track of all the taps, and I'm going to keep track of them as a timestamp of when they just tapped. And so I shove them into an array. We'll filter them out and just say, only take the taps from the last 4 seconds. And then if we have more than 4 taps, then let's calculate the intervals between each one of those taps. How many milliseconds were between tap 1 and 2, between 2 and 3, 3 and 4. So we shove all those intervals into another array, and we calculate the BPM of each one of those. So now we got an array of the BPM in between each one of the taps. And then we reduce those down because we've used Redux before. We know what this means. And we average them. So we got a bunch of BPMs, average them down to 1 tempo, and then I can just assign that value into tempo. And once that's assigned, I can say update. I don't need this one. And we got this little reset timer where we say, if it's been 4 seconds and we haven't seen a new tap, then just clear that out. And then we'll come down here and we'll switch this to BPM tempo. So let's see.
No, I still want him to do the chest compressions.
Yeah. Okay, I made a tempo.
Very nice.
Thingy.
No, I love it. Nice. And thank you for explaining the code. That was great. So now I'm going to say, is a click really what we want here?
I think that's why I didn't get the BPM right, because click. Do you guys know about click? Like,
Click.
Really know what click does?
It's an interesting event.
Mouse down and mouse up on the same element is a click. But also, space down with the keyboard followed by a space up without an escape key in between is a click. And key down on the enter key is an immediate click plus a repeat. The longer it's down, the more click events are going to fire. That's what a click is. Oh, and it's a touch start without a touch move off and then a touch up. That's a lot.
Yeah, so if we're only getting the click event, right, because you're using your mouse right now, right? So if we're only getting a click event when the mouse goes down and then comes back up, it's not a super accurate way to get, like, to express what we're trying to express, right? We're trying to get BPM. We're trying to get, what I wanted is like mouse down. I also want like keyboard support, right? So could we also incorporate like key down and mouse down? Like those two events, they kind of feel to me like we want to track both of those things if we're trying to calculate BPM on the button. This is literally how I talk to GPT, and then I hope and pray that it understood
I'm already done. I was done before.
what I just said. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Okay, so you got pointer down and key down. All right. Does it work?
Ooh, that was close.
Hey, we're getting closer. Almost.
Do you guys know about pointer events? Not the CSS thing to like make stuff not work. Pointer events. It is the same spec though. Pointer down normalizes mouse, pen, and touch. And then we came here and we added the key down to give it the same behavior, all right here.
Okay, cool. So I've got two add event listeners. I scroll up a little bit. I've got my handle tap function, and then scroll up a little bit. I've got some state. Some of that state shows up in the UI. The tempo shows up in the UI and on my button. The other things, would you agree, they also feel like state? Yeah, they like the most recent taps, right? There's a timer there. That also kind of feels like something that's stateful because at a certain point in time, it gets reset or cleared.
Oh, no, it doesn't. All right, now it does.
Let me back up. At a certain point in time,
Yourself a good dinner, folks.
So, you know, we've got a couple of pieces of state here. Some of it feels like UI state. Some of it feels like some other kind of like ephemeral state, right? If you're building a React component, all of this stuff might just live in your component. Might just be part of your like component state. I mean, if you imagine making a component like this, a React component like this, all that stuff might just sort of live in your component state, right? Is there some other kind of like way that we could kind of like wrap up the pieces that have to do with the event and keep them separate from the pieces that have to do with updating the UI?
Yeah, so climbing to the mountain with us, you're going to see the first Remix API. Events are such a big part of the web. Everything is an event target pretty much. All the DOM nodes, window, document, WebSockets are event targets. That has that event listener on it. XHR has event listener on it. Event targets are in Node. Event targets are in all the new JavaScript runtimes.
The document is an event target?
Yeah, it's everywhere. And so we have created this package called Remix Events. And it gives you a way to talk about events in a higher level language. So this event that we've got down here, this pointer down and this key down, we could actually kind of wrap that up as a concept, just like Click, right? Click had all those different behaviors that's composed of multiple events and states inside. We can create interactions like Click that encapsulate both state and events, a lot like a component does. So I'm going to wrap up this button. Instead of saying add event listener, I'm going to say events button. And then I'm going to add pointer down and key down. We'll just see it this way first. And so now I've got these like, instead of these magic strings floating around of what kind of event it is, I have like a thing. I have a reference to this kind of an event that I want to bind. But these two, so this will keep on working.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes, please.
So, and you can massage the code however you want, what I'm saying. But the packages that we're going to be showing you today, both the packages that Ryan's going to be talking about, the packages that I'm going to be talking about, this isn't like final how we want you to consume Remix, right? We're publishing Remix as individual packages. Like you can think about them as like these isolated little containers for some behavior, some responsibility. So the idea is not that when Remix is finished, that you're just going to import like 20 different packages and have to figure all that out. It's all going to be shipped together. But today you're going to see a lot of the kind of lower level building blocks because we're still in the prototyping phase.
We literally started after the blog post 3 months ago.
There you go.
All right, so yeah, we're going to see a lot of those. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't want to freak people out with too many imports either. Okay, so this couple of events, Remix Events actually ships with this concept in it. It's something called, yeah, I'm going to have another package right here, which you won't need it from here. Press down. We've got press down, long press, outer press, press up. And these are all composed of other events. They've got state inside of them. They've got other events inside of them. And now, with just that one thing, I can encapsulate all of that into one idea, right? One semantic event of press down.
I'm going to go sit down. No, I'm not. I'm going to say one more thing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we've got events.
I'm kind of sick of this extra state sitting here.
Yeah, exactly. We need to encapsulate this, right? Is there some sort of way that we can encapsulate event state with the thing that triggers the UI update and, you know, wrap that up into a sort of a reusable piece? For example, I mean, the thing that I always think of with encapsulation is, how can I share this? How can I share this with somebody else? If somebody else wants a tempo tapper, what am I going to tell them? You need 3 variables and a handle tap function? Or is there something that I could give them so that they can, you know, install it or just import it and use it really easily? Is there some way to wrap it all up together?
So with Remix events, you can create your own interactions, a lot like components that encapsulate state and events. So you got something to talk about. So I'm going to export this thing. Let's see if it gets it all right for me, and I don't have to do very much. And so I'm going to say create interaction. This can bind to HTML buttons. I could actually loosen that up and say bind to HTML elements. And it's going to have a number on the detail. Oh, we skipped a step. But anyway, the web has a thing called custom event.
Ah, yeah.
So custom events are just built in. They're in Node as well. And this is a way to dispatch on something. So you could say like button.dispatch event, and then you dispatch that new event. And then other people elsewhere can now say button add event listener tempo. But it's hard with types because you got these magic strings going around. You have to augment the global HTML element types, and they don't know about this detail until you do that kind of stuff. And so another reason that we created this events package is that we could make native DOM events type safe. So kind of twofold here. We want to encapsulate state and events, and we want to have some type safety. So here, instead of a button, I'm going to use this target. And I'll come down here, and I'll say...
dispatch event?
Yeah. I need to add it. I haven't added anything. Yeah, we'll just do that. So here, I've got a dispatch function that came in at the top. And again, it's type safe, so this comes in and it says, you need to dispatch something with a number as the detail. I know somebody brought their wife here, and she's not a developer, and she's falling asleep in front of me. It's pretty awesome. Don't call attention to her. No, shh, let her take a nap. It was a long flight. So instead of setting state and then updating, you dispatch an event. So this is just saying button dispatch event underneath the hood, but in a type safe way. Yeah. And then out of the bottom of this thing, I've got my handle tap. I'm going to return events on the target. I got to bring that in too. Let me just zoom this out a little bit so you can see the shape of it. So I know you can't read it. We're just looking at the shape. So at the top, you create an interaction. Inside, we've got our state that gets managed inside of this. So this is per event binding to something. Yeah. And then we've got our handler in here that I could inline if I wanted to. And instead of saying render when it's time to do something, you dispatch. Yeah. And so instead of having all that state inside of a component and dealing with the timer and dealing with the intervals of the taps and all this stuff inside, you have a different place to go put it into these custom events or these custom interactions. And then you dispatch, and anyone that cares can do something about it at that point. And then I export it as tempo. So now I can come back in.
Just one thing I wanted to say before you apply it.
Yeah, keep going.
An example. And then I'm going to sit down, I promise. You heard Ryan mention types a few times, okay? The developer experience in Remix 3 is going to rely heavily on TypeScript specifically, right? That was kind of it was kind of like a side quest in Remix 1 and 2. I think it's much clearer now that TypeScript is like the way to go, and it's the way to get, do static type analysis on your code. So anyway, just a footnote. Developer experience in Remix relies heavily on types. You're going to hear both Ryan and me talking a lot about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit down.
Okay, so we are now. Oh, thank you, Michael. Michael Jackson will return after the break. So now check this out. Here's my state for this module, right? Here are my events where I attach them to the button. This thing's got a bunch of state in it that I don't have to think about anymore. I just want to get a tempo out of this. It will dispatch or call back whenever it's ready, and then it will tell me what that value is. And then I can say update. And that update function is whatever I want right here. So this should, oh, what did I just do? What's that? Oh, yeah, I just wanted you to see what the type looked like. All right. Oh, I'm getting nervous if I think that's 120. I'm like clicking super fast. So we built this event package, and Michael and I were looking at it, and he was like, that's actually pretty cool. Do we even need components anymore? And I was like, well, yes, we do. Okay, so you can all relax. But the point I want to drive home here is that these custom events or these custom interactions, there's an analogy with components. Components are to elements as custom interactions are to events. So you build a component when you have several elements. Maybe it's one, maybe it's two, maybe it's 100. But you've got all these elements that you want to render somewhere, and then you've got some state to determine how to render those things, and you've got events to figure out what that state is to then figure out what to render, right? And we can encapsulate all that into a component. Well, these interactions like tempo, it's the same thing but for events. It encapsulates state, it encapsulates other events, it has timers, you can reset the timer, you can clear it, and then when it's ready to do something, instead of saying set state like we're used to, or setting a value on a signal or something like that, you dispatch the event. So we have this whole extra place to go put state. If you go look particularly at component libraries, we built Reach UI, and so much of our state in Reach UI is this fiddling around with multiple events and figuring out some state that actually has nothing to do with rendering. And then once we get it in some spot, we're going to say, okay, now it's time to render. And if you go look at any of those libraries, once you start thinking like that, you'll start to see like this. None of this stuff is component state. So much of it is actually event state. So that's our first abstraction. Look at this code too. We got this BPM. This isn't an observable thing. This is just a variable, right? Just a variable in scope. I can just assign to it. And then how does the button get updated? I tell it to update. That's it. Very simple model. So we're down to the bottom of the mountain, and we're just climbing up. Like, let's not bring in abstractions until we feel like we absolutely need them. We needed them for events, for type safety, and this composition. Do we need something here? I just learned about a thing recently called an organism. Someone did like create organism, and I was like, what on earth is that? Anyway, I wasn't supposed to. I'm not salty. I'm happy. I gave a talk at KentConf at Epic Web called Let Me Be. Do you see why now? Look at that. Let BPM equal 60, and then I can change it later. Everyone's like, show us the dang component. All right, let's see what it looks like as a component. So I'm going to make a component here. I'm going to stick all this stuff. Oh no, I need to reload my window because my key bindings just goofed up, and now my server's dead. Okay, so I wrapped this up in a thing called app. And then I've got this update function before. Instead of an update function, I'm just going to return a function here. And then instead of a button there, I'm going to use some JSX. Whoa, can't see anything. I got to get rid of some of these autocompletes, man. All right, let's just return that wholesale. And then got these events up there. Let's come over here. I'm going to make this prop called on. Oh, yes, thank you. Keep reminding me. I'll try to remember. And I'm going to slide these events down there. I actually don't need that anymore. I don't need that. So this on prop on our JSX takes the exact same thing as that events thing that you saw. The event system in Remix 3 is just DOM events. It uses normal DOM events. You can use custom events. And as you can see, this tempo thing having a nice hard reference to this thing is pretty awesome because we couldn't, we're not going to go change the global types of JSX every time you want to make a custom event. And then right here, how do I update? Will you all brace yourselves for a second? I mean it. Are you ready? Nobody left. They're still here. All right, TypeScript's mad though, right? What are you doing? There's no this in this function. So this component is now a stateful Remix component, and this is your handle. The entire Remix API pretty much lives inside of that. Now I'm going to come do just some shuffling around here, and we'll render our app. All right, let's see if, I haven't clicked the button yet. Okay, now I click it. Now you can clap. You all right? Everyone doing okay? Yes. How does the button know that BPM changed? It doesn't. And that's why Remix 3 is awesome. This is just a JavaScript scope like any other, right? You have a function, you can put some stuff inside of there, and if there's something stateful inside, like an event listener, you got a scroll listener, we had a button click earlier, we just had this let out there in the module scope, it's no different inside of a function, and you can manipulate the state whenever, however you want, use whatever types of values you want, you can bring in anything, and this setup scope is what we call it. This setup scope is only called once when your component's being rendered. So we'll call your function, all this stuff gets captured into JavaScript memory. It's not a feature of Remix, it's just how JavaScript works. And then we check that you returned a function. We're like, oh, okay, cool, thanks, you gave me a render function. That's the thing I'm gonna hang on to. And then when you say this.update later, I don't care, I don't even know what you have in your JavaScript scope. You say update, we'll grab this function that you handed to us, and then we'll just call it again. And so all of your state is yours. You can do whatever you want with it. You can set up listeners inside of here. It's there's no way that I can really describe how liberating it is to have this little setup scope and not always worry about, oh, my component's going to get re-rendered. What do I do about that? It's pretty nice.
Can you render 2 of them?
Not yet. We just started. Of course I can, if I can see what's going on. This fragment syntax is so weird. I get 2 chances. I will get it one of these times. Think about this thing over here. Oh, yeah, you don't believe me now, do you, Jacob? There you go. Have a good partner, have a good team. Look at all this crap. With the things that you're using today, where would all of this crap go? That'd be in state, right? Every single time that you're pushing into these taps thing, are you going to hang that on a ref so it doesn't cause updates? Where are you going to do this clear timeout? Is it just going to be right here? Is it going to be in a signal effect? Is it going to be in a use effect? All of this stuff. We just got this lovely little scope to just do this job. And we don't have to clutter up the components with that. The component only has BPM. Pretty cool. Should we build the whole drum machine? You want to see the whole thing? All right, let's do that. We're going to build the entire drum machine. Still want that. Yep. Hey, that should be there. Oh, it's an O2. Pro tip, stick the final in a final file, and then the LLM will just do it. Live coding got so much easier. I didn't expect live coding to get easier with AI, but it absolutely did. Okay. It's inert. It doesn't do anything. Anyone know that CSS variable? Yeah? Or rule? I used it out loud in front of my kids the other day. They're like, inert? What does inert mean, Dad? Is that you? Are you an inert? They bought me these baggy pants. And I was like, that's what I wore when I was a kid, guys. You just look like us. So this app, look at this one. This one doesn't return a function, right? So this is a stateless component. I don't need a this. I don't need any of that stuff, right? So you just got UI components. They got styles on them. Do whatever you want. Away you go. Let's actually look at these things. Here's the layout. Oh, like I said, it's got styles on it. We actually don't have time for this today. Yeah, maybe we do a little bit. Okay. So none of these have state. Got drum controls. It's got a control group, a couple of buttons, our tempo display. The only thing that really deserves any conversation here is this equalizer, which is maybe the wrong word. But it's taking, like the kick owns these 4 columns, and the snare owns these 3, and the hi-hat owns these 2. And so that's what this junk is all about. And I can just change these kick volumes, like I can change the snare to 0, and now that goes away. I can change the snare to 0.5, and then it comes up to there. And so that's the basis of our animation. We've already figured out, like, okay, here's my state. How do I render these bars where I want them to be? And we'll animate that in a minute. But the first thing that we want to do is we got to get a drummer in here. And I'm going to make this play and stop button work. So I'm going to say, let's get a drummer. They're actually not this easy to find in the real world. And now, look at this. This is what you'll screw up in Remix 3, is remembering to make it a stateful component. Because at the moment, drum controls, every time it gets rendered, you get a new scope, right? Because we're going to call this function every time that someone above you says update. And so you want that scope to yourself, and you don't want that getting messed around with by Remix, so you return a function out of here, and now that drummer is going to be stable. It's just going to sit there inside a JavaScript scope. And then I can come over to my button here. Oh, that's set tempo. And I'm going to say, I'm going to use, let's use press down, actually, is what I want. You know what? Let's show you the other one. Let's do dom.pointer down. I'll just do it. With that one, I'll say drummer play. And so again, this DOM has every aux click. Did you know that that was an event? I did not know that that was an event. We got all sorts of funny things. Queue change beats me, but it's there. I learned a lot building this. So we'll say drummer play there, and then we'll come over here to our stop. Drummer stop. All right, cool. So we got the drums playing. I want the tempo display to know what the drummer's tempo is, because the drummer has a tempo on it. It has a BPM on it. And so I want to tell the tempo display that it's what its BPM is, and I'll say drummer BPM. Maybe it says tempo. Actually, I don't even have a prop there, so here we go. Let's come down to tempo display. I'm going to give it a prop. And say, here's your BPM, and put it in there. I think I start at 90 in both places. So let's switch this to like 120, since I can't ever seem to get it myself. And now we got 120 there. And if I say, oh, we can't, yeah, now if I, oh, we can't change the tempo yet. So let's make that work. So let's add our set tempo. This is the thing that we just built. We'll bring in tempo from there. And then we'll set the drummer's tempo with that. Now if I reload here and I hit play, Actually, I'm gonna say play, and my little drummer, you can say play with this tempo, and so we'll go with that tempo. I'm gonna click this super fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, you kidding me? Okay, we didn't see the BPMs update, right? Why not? Because tempo display has no idea the BPM changed, because in Remix, you decide when things render. So I need a way to re-render this component when the drummer changes. Now this drummer, I did not write by hand. I said to, oh shoot, I got all those in there. Oh, well, all right, it's an event target. It wasn't before. But if I extend event target out of this drummer, this thing I just told Cursor to build, I was like, give me a drummer that has a kick and a snare and a hi-hat and a boom bap beat, and then it just barfed this thing out, and it was awesome. And then I need to turn it into an event target, and then I can come down here and I can dispatch events because it's an event target. So I'm gonna say new custom event, what's that one? Template. I'm just gonna say change. So anytime that this thing changes, and I don't need to pass any detail. I'm just going to say dispatch that you changed whenever you set tempo. Whenever you play, I'm going to dispatch a change event, and then whenever you stop, I'll dispatch one of those. All right. Are those all the same? Cool. I can come back over into my drummer, and I can say drummer add event listener change. This.update. Oh, it turned red. So again, if you're allergic to this, I promise it doesn't have the problems that you think it's going to have. I've used it for like 2 weeks, and it's been fine. Okay, so now whenever the drummer changes, I'm going to say update. That was too fast, wasn't it? Uh-oh, did we just kill the audio? I think I might have just ruined the audio. I'm going to just double check that it's... No, the whole thing's busted. Of course it is. Well, looked cool for a second. What's that? Yeah, I probably deleted some stuff, didn't I? I'm going to just put it all back how it was. So this is cool. I'll just show you this part, and then hopefully it'll work. So we have this other thing to make those events type safe, because just dispatching these strings, and everyone else needing to know the strings. So if I come back into this, I've got to know I've got to know the names of these strings and stuff, right? I got to say like, oh, I got to know that that's change, and I got to know this other thing is change over there. And so instead of having those things be known everywhere, we have this createEventType. And this returns you two things. You got a change and a create change. So create change literally just says, this makes a custom event. Instead of you saying new custom event, this one does it in a type safe way. And then a little pattern that I like to do is drop all these things that bind to the event to stuff onto the drummer as static methods. So I can come back over into my app, and I can say events, that very same thing that we were seeing before. I can say drummer change, right? That's like my press or my press down or my click on any event target. I could have exported it as change, but that's kind of weird, so I like to stick it on that. And then I'm going to cross my fingers that everything, yeah, that works now. Switch back over. Now I probably busted the audio. Okay, now if I set tempo really fast. All right. Yeah, that was a fun beat. Sorry, I had to zip through that faster than I wanted to get it in a working state again. But what I find interesting here is that there's no special types yet, right? This drummer is something that I could just ask Cursor to barf out for me. And if it does what I need it to do, I'll use it. If it doesn't, I'll pull the slot machine again, see if it works. I might pull it 3 times, and then if it doesn't work anymore, then I'll go in and try to understand what the heck it did, and then I'll build something by hand if I really need it, right? So an important thing with Remix 3 is that it should work without any special types. No, like, it doesn't have to be a this or a that for it to know how to update anything. You decide when to update by saying this.update, and you can subscribe to things. Let's see, what else we got in here? So my play, stop, set, tempo are all working. Let's get these little buttons working down here. So tempo display, I'm just passing in BPM, and the tempo display has these 2 buttons, the up and down. So I want to add events on these, and I want to get the drummer, right? So I can pass the drummer down. Here, let's type it out here. We'll say on press. Actually, I'm going to do press down again. I like that event the most for this. I want to say drummer set tempo. But I don't have the drummer here, so I could pass it as props, but I'd rather use context. So Remix has context. It's going to look a little bit different than what you've seen before, and I think it's pretty awesome. Or else we wouldn't have made it this way. Looking at this app, I also know that drummer equalizer is going to need the drummer too, right? So everybody in this app needs the drummer. So let's just move the drummer all the way up. But I'm not going to move these events up because this doesn't have any state. So I don't actually need to update this thing when the drummer changes. So I'm just going to leave this one alone. But now that I've got something in state here, I'm going to return a function so that this scope doesn't get blown away on me. And then I need a way to get this drummer. So I'm going to turn this into a remix handle. And remix handle takes a generic for its context type. Think about parent-child components, right? With context, it's like grandparent-grandchild relationships, right? I got 3 kids. Michael's got 4 kids. Kent has 32 kids. Every parent is every child is a potential parent, and every parent is a potential grandchild, eventually, or grandparent, eventually, right? So in normal components, a component may not have children, and then it does have children, and it's just a change in your props, right? In Remix components, eventually it may have grandchildren. So you just put the context type right here and say this thing is going to provide a drummer. And then here I say this.context.set drummer. This doesn't cause a render. I don't need to update my context for the tree, which has big effects, right? One of the hard things about this tree-based context is that every time you want to change something in context, you've got to render from the top all the way down. With this context, it's not a render. It's literally just taking that value and storing it internally inside of the component instance. This drummer is an event target, so people can listen to its changes. But I can just set it here. You can set it anywhere. You can set context in the event handler. You can set context while you're rendering. You can do it anywhere you want. Now, this is my favorite part of our context API, is to get the context. You say this context get, and then you give it the component that provides it. And now it's all type safe. You know exactly what you got. It's type safe up here too. If I try to give it like 42, it's like, no. You said you would give me a drummer. Give me a drummer, you punk. I put a poster on the wall at the bar and I said, we need a drummer. Why didn't we get one? I taught my daughter the drums. If you can't tell, I always had a problem finding drummers for my bands growing up. That's pretty cool.
You want to mention how hard it is to find your provider sometimes?
Yeah, where did this context get set? Well, go to definition. Oh, that's where. Yeah, that's pretty nice. You share my pain. All right, so let's get this drummer all the way down the tree, down to our tempo display. Look at this. We don't even need BPM anymore. Pass to this because tempo display is going to get the drummer, And watch, it's going to turn into a stateful component now. And now you're going to see, oh, that's why they used this. We used this because it's an optional argument in the first position. And props are an optional argument in the second position. So it's really nice because sometimes components have props, sometimes they don't. Sometimes components need a this, they're stateful, sometimes they're not. And so we didn't want you to have to be like, oh, here's the remix thingy that I don't actually care about, I just care about my props. Or vice versa, here's the props I don't care about, and then here's the remix thingy that I need. So that's actually kind of nice. Michael told me I don't need to talk about that, everyone will be okay. But I've shown this to a couple of people and they're just like, what is this? It's that. No, you won't. You won't be doing that, it's fine. You won't be doing that, they never stop. All right, so drummer BPM, and I want this, so I'm gonna pass that down, and now I want this thing to also update whenever the drummer changes. And so now that should look pretty good, I think. Oh yeah, then I added these. Yeah. Pop it. Pull it. Twist it. Twist it. Pop it. Twist it. All right, I went too long. Wow! We were just playing Bop It. My kids found one in the old closet, and it was like, this game's fun. That's the drum beat, too. That's the one that I copied. This is looking kind of cool. Let's do the equalizer animation thing. Oh, tempo display. What's its problem? It doesn't, yeah, I wasn't passing props to it. Okay, now the equalizer. Here we go. This is the fun part everyone's been excited for. We need the drummer here. Let's get the drummer. Oh, look, I'm stateful now. And then the drummer you saw had a handful of other events. We're going to use those in a second here. With these kick values, again, I was a little bit intimidated with how to do like the decay on one of these visualizations. And so I was like, cursor. And then I described it to it. And I was like, I got a drummer, finally. And I'm going to say, I have a kick, snare, and a hat, and I want to trigger them up to the value of 1. And then I want you to decay them down to 0 because I'm trying to do this animation. But all I want to do in my component is say kick 1 or snare 1. And then I want you to just own the animation of those values and do it all in a single request animation frame. And so off it went. It built some horrendous looking thing, but I've never even looked at it because I don't care. It worked. So it gave me this thing called createVoiceLooper. That's the name I gave it. It was a bad name. And I was like, sure, I'll call it that. And then this returns to me createVoice. And so down here, for kick, snare, and hat, each one of these are their own voices. And then instead of, this knows what I want to do. Drummers and event target, and I added those other events to it to say, hey, every time you kick, I want you to trigger this voice. And so it's going to put that value all the way up to 1, and snare and hat. And then down here, I'm going to map all of those into actual values. And again, this is just some random thing that AI made for me. And I just pass it this.update. I'm just like, hey, do a thing like whenever something happens, whenever you need to do a frame, call this.update. And so it doesn't know what this is. It doesn't know about remix. It doesn't know anything like that. All it knows is it got a callback to call when something happens. It's actually kind of horrendous. Here, we got this decay generator. Like, what is that JavaScript syntax? I don't know. Can we put some dollars in here too? Beats me. Oh no, I'm gonna ruin everything. Delta MS, decay, create voice loop. It's got envelopes. What's mailing letters? Any active? Like, no clue. New guy on the team wrote this. But I don't care, it works. Check it out. Okay, are we ready? Here we go. They're clapping. I think they like Remix, Michael. All right, check this out. Again, to see the shape of it. Think about all of the state that could have been in these components. And all of the effects and like, oh, when that changes over here, it's going to trigger that effect over there. And then this signal is going to oversubscribe. Or no, it won't because we made it a computed one. And like all these things of like trying to shove things into state in order to get something else to happen. And then suddenly too much is happening. And now you got to like rewind and be like, okay, why is this extra stuff happening? In this code, the only time anything updates is because I told it to. Now, it seems in the front-end world we've been chasing for a very long time this idea that you can construct a bunch of things together, a directed acyclic graph or other stuff I didn't learn in school because I studied economics, and then you just change values and everything does exactly what it's supposed to do. But my experience in those systems is getting it set up is difficult. And once it is set up, suddenly when something is happening you didn't expect, you have to try to unravel that and figure out what is going on, why is this changing, why is this oversubscribing, why is this rendering over and over and over every single time, why is my server getting DDoS like, or DDoSed, I read that more than I heard it. But in Remix, it's very explicit. You say update. If you're wondering why a component is updating, it's because you told it to somewhere. There's no accidental loops. If you like want to shoot yourself in the foot, you're going to have to set up a recursive function that calls update, does something, calls update again. Like you're going to see that you did it to yourself. So this model, while is a little bit more manual, so we're not supposed to make up acronyms on the Remix team, but it is called MFGR, Manual Fine-Grained Reactivity. You can get your fine-grained reactivity by setting it up yourself manually. Nothing's going to update unless you tell it to. We don't actually call it that. We just call them updates. How we doing? Kent likes it. I got some woos. Anyone want to talk about this? That kills the microphones for everyone online. Is there a better thing to yell for microphones? Won't anyway. I don't know. Nobody knows. Okay, that's a Remix component. I think the point that I really want you to take away from this is there are no special types. There are no hidden runtimes or behaviors. Anything that happens, your code said it should happen. This scope right here, the setup scope, is so useful when you're building these UIs, and then this extra place to go put all the other state is super useful too. Let's see.
How much Remix API did you use in this example?
Context and ren update. Well, that's easy to find, right? I can just search for all the blue thises. So there's one. That's another reason that I like this, is that it turns blue. So context set, context get.
And the on prop.
The on prop is kind of special. That's another thing that'll freak you out for a little bit, and then you'll be like, this is incredible. I love this thing. Yeah, that's it. I mean, here's the whole Remix API. Context, frame, ID, QTask, raise, property remix, handle, drummer signal, board signal, it indicates, I don't know, shoot. I guess we can't see them all. Let me just do it again. Oh my gosh, get out of there. What are you doing, editor? I should go back to Vim. I know I should go back to Vim. All right, context, frame, ID, QTask, raise, signal, and update. Good cue, Michael. What happens if my drummer's playing and my component gets unmounted? It'll just keep on playing because the web audio API isn't like attached to my objects in here. So everyone saw signal and they're like, what?
It's not what you think it is.
Ever heard of an abort controller? Controllers have a signal. And guess what signals are? Event listeners, or event targets, just like so many other things on the web. So when your component is mounted, this signal is not aborted. When your component is removed from the tree, this signal is aborted. So we can say add event listener abort, drummer stop. If you got async work going on, you can check this.signal. You know what? I'm showing that in a second. I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, so there's this.signal. It tells you when you're connected or when you're not connected to the UI. Here's another one of my favorite things that we've added. You know what? I've said everything's my favorite. Remix is my favorite. I just can't stop smiling. Smiling's my favorite. It's almost time to watch Elf again. The intrusive thoughts are winning so much right now. You can ask our team. I have been like in a hole writing code, and Michael too. And I mean, the whole team's been working hard. So I'm not going to try to say I've been working harder than anybody. I've been working harder than I have ever worked in my life. So I'm super excited to be in front of you guys because I haven't seen people in 3 months. Again, not salty. I'm sad. Do you remember React components when we had create class and you said this.set state? And you give it like the new state? It had this other thing on the back end that was beautiful and glorious. And it was a little callback that would get called when the DOM was updated, when the whole thing was complete. I'm a huge accessibility advocate, partially because I worked with John over here at Instructure building Canvas. And it wasn't just because we wanted to do it, we had to do it because we were selling to schools and governments and stuff. And so I became an accessibility nut. And this little callback thing was the greatest place ever to do focus management because I knew everything was done, I could go focus something. So let me show you how we do something like that here in Remix. Oh, should I update? So on my play and my stop buttons, where are they? There they are. I'm going to disable them for the one that's not pressable at the time. And so I'm going to say disabled. Oh, it's like, oh, you were pretty excited about that signal. Maybe that's what you want. So disabled equals drummer dot, yeah, crummer. It's a crummy drummer. Play should be disabled when we're playing. Yes. That's going to be a theme, I guess, today, but we're idiots. And then stop, disabled there. Okay, so if I come in, yeah. Okay, cool. I want to move focus over to the other thing, right? That'd be a really nice user interface where it's like I can hit enter with the keyboard, it'll move focus to stop, I can enter, and then it can go back over to play. So I would love to just right here say like play.focus. And then I'd like to have a reference to this thing and say stop.focus. But I don't have anything like that. Yep, that's what I want. I'm going to want a play and a stop. So how do I get access to the actual elements inside of these things? No. Not that. Did you know if you have a DOM node, like a button, you can ask it like, is connected? If you can spell it, you could get it. That's a part of the DOM. You can say, hey, hey node, are you connected? If you want to extend and make a custom element, extend HTML element, there's these things called connected callback and disconnected callback. Familiar with those APIs? I like these words better. I'm connected, I'm disconnected. It's what the DOM says instead of mounted, unmounted, or whatever ref means. It's connected or it's disconnected. And those kind of sound like events. So whenever our reconciler inserts a node, right, it looks at your JSX and it's like, this is a button. Okay, I'm going to document create element button, and then it inserts it into its parent. We dispatch an event on that button just using web APIs, and we say, you are now connected. And so I can pass in multiple event handlers with an array here. And then I'll say on connect. I'll import that from no. Yes. Every bug you'll ever have here, I just showed you. And look at this. Events have a current target. That's just a part of the event target API. And so the play button is this button. And so now I can do the same thing down here on stop. Assign that one there. Get my syntax right. Okay. So now I've got references to my DOM elements, so I should be able to go and focus those things. Yeah, I got errors. What's wrong? Oh, I don't have keyboard event handlers. Of course. That was dumb. That's why I should have used press. Ah, that's right. Super useful. Okay, cool. But I don't know if you can hear, but I'm trying really hard to hit my enter button to stop, which means that the stop button didn't get focus. So while Remix doesn't do like mega batching of rendering, it does batch everything into one micro task so that we can deduplicate renders. If a parent and a child and a descendant are all listening to a window scroll and they all say, I want to update when the window scrolls, we queue that into a micro task, deduplicate, and figure out like, oh, well, you're the parent of these two, just get rid of you two, and we're only going to render the parent. So it happens asynchronously. It happens in a micro task. So we have this thing called queueTask. And that's where we want to do the work when the DOM has changed. So the reason the focus didn't move is because this was disabled. I was trying to focus a disabled input. And it's like, I'm disabled because Remix hadn't updated the DOM yet. But queueTask says, okay, give me a function, and then as soon as I'm done updating the DOM, now I'll clear out this queue of tasks that you gave me. This isn't like a listener. This doesn't set up anything over time. It's just literally for the next render. You can add things into the queue. Someone says update, DOM gets updated, we dequeue, and then that's it. Go get some Frosties. No, not Frosties, that's Wendy's. DQ is, what do they have? Blizzards, yeah, and concretes, right? No, that's Arctic Circle. That's a Utah thing. When you go to Arctic Circle in Utah, get the halibut. It's actually surprisingly good for a fast food place. Just big gulps, huh? Okay, so now my focus should move. If I refresh. Hey. I don't know if any of you looked at the schedule, but I'm up here for a long time. Do we want a tiny break? No. I don't need one. I don't need one. No break. Okay, keep on going. I need a tiny break. We're talking about, never mind. I forgot this is a live feed. I was going to make fun of someone famous. Oh, I'm not quite done here. I'm trying to not like hype our little event system too much, but like that's an event listener, and we have dom.abort. Like it's the events thing always wants an array though. I might change that. Look at that. That's kind of cool. I can clean that up too. I think I can just say drummer stop because it doesn't take any args. Yeah, kind of cool. Like I said, XHR is an event target. Anyway, yeah, I'm hyping it too much. But here's where it gets exciting. I want to add more keyboard interactivity to this. I was talking to James Long earlier today. Oh no, he's not sitting there. Are you? Oh, there he is. All right, so when JSX first came out with React, James refused to use JSX. He just wrote it raw, and so I was like, oh crap. He was looking forward to us not using JSX. We used it and he left, but no, he's still here. I want to add some listeners to the document so that oh, sorry. Yeah, I was talking to James. I got totally sidetracked. And he was just talking about how he loves Emacs because he can navigate this file tree over here with his keyboard with the same keystrokes as his code, and that's awesome. And UIs need to have more and more and more keyboard events, in my opinion, because power users are really good at learning that kind of stuff and getting through an app. So if I want to add some keyboard events to this, it doesn't feel like I'm doing anything different than the rest of Remix. This on prop, as you're seeing, and these custom interactions, they just kind of go everywhere. And so I can add events to this drummer, and or sorry, not the drummer. I can add events to the window. And then I got this win thing that comes in, and this is going to give me all of the events that you can add to window. And one of those things is key down. And then I can come in here and get my event, and it's going to know event.key is a thing. But I can actually do a whole lot better than that because we have semantic events. I can bring in space, and I can bring in arrow up and down and right and left. Let's do arrow left and arrow right. Do-do-do-do-do. I can come over here to window and I can say on space, drummer toggle. Yeah, lovely. On arrow up, set tempo, arrow down, set tempo. I can do my arrow left and arrow right as well for the people that like to do this on the left and right axis instead of the up and down. Now I'm just going to hit spacebar. I can hit up. I can hit left arrow. And this doesn't look like different code, right? Feels like the on prop everywhere else that we've been using. Pretty cool. You can use these on your elements. It's not just on window. And these are pretty cool. You can imagine what these are internally. Let's see if we can go look at it. Nah, can't look at it. But it's basically just checking. It's a quick little thing that just checks what's the event.key. Is it arrow right? It is. Okay, dispatch the event. And these things all, they compose. I don't have too much time to go into this, but I'm just going to toss this one out here for some of you. When you get this event in here, if you say event.preventDefault, then the other space types in the chain won't trigger. So if you've ever wrapped an element, you're building a component library, you're building a link component, a button component, or whatever, there's this huge dance of like, okay, I got to add click, mouse down, and key down on this thing, but they might want to add click, mouse down, and key down on this thing. So first, I'm going to call their thing with the event, and then I'm going to check event prevent defaulted, and then if it is prevent defaulted, I'm not going to do my work. This is just built into our event system in the same array. If two types, one comes before the other and says prevent default, then this one won't go. But these will. The different types have nothing to do with that prevent default chain. We'll be talking a lot more about that another time. But pretty cool. Okay. I'm going to zoom out, look at the shape of this thing. Little context. Add an event to our signal to abort and have the drummer stop. Some keyboard events. Get drummer from context, subscribe to it. A couple of references for stop and play buttons. Special tempo thing here. Connect to get our reference. Play, little QTask to say I want to go focus that when the DOM is updated. Where's the drummer? Pretty happy about it. That was a signal. Oh, do we do cleanup?
Sorry, repeat the question.
Yeah, cleanup. Yeah, it returns cleanup, so I can go subscribe that. But just realized how to simplify this. It doesn't work yet. but add event listener, if you say L add event listener, key down, you can give it a signal. And this is the DOM thing. This is an us. The DOM, you can give a signal to an event, and it'll be like, okay, when that gets aborted, we'll remove the event. And I just learned that recently. And so this event system doesn't have it yet, but you're totally going to be able to pass in a signal here in the future. And so it'll just look like that. And all those events will just get cleaned up automatically. We got a Q&A at the end to like pause and do Q&A, but my huge amount of time will suddenly shrink. Okay, let's go get the next one. What do we got here? Forms. If you follow me on X, the everything platform, you might have seen this. So this isn't doing anything. It's inert, like me. All right, so we got a form here. We've got two selects. You know what the drill is here. I want to fetch this stuff from a remote source and fill in the second select box with that state going to my server. So let's add an event listener on this state thing. And we'll say, okay, on dom.change. I'll get my event in here. And then just, I don't know. I don't think I'm the only one. When I think about product requirements and I get to this point, like I didn't go make state first, right? I went to the event first. I do, when I'm developing, I always do this. I go into the event and then it's like, okay, oh, that's right. I need some state to manipulate to then be able to do things inside of here, right? But I personally I think about events first. What's the feature? The feature is when the user changes the first select box, right? That's how we start the feature. When they change the first select box, we want to go into a loading state. We want to fetch some data from a remote source, and then we want to populate the second one, and then we want to go out of a loading state. It's a pretty easy thing to talk about, right? I don't say, well, I don't even have to say it. You know how this looks in other places. So I'm going to go into a loading state, and then I'm going to update. And then I'm going to go and get a response. I'm going to fetch my data store. No, I don't want to show that yet. Just chill the heck out, cursor. So this needs to be async. And then I want to get the cities from that thing. And then I want to go into a loaded state again, and then I want to update. Right? Isn't this where you want to write this code? Or do you want to set up a graph of dependencies that are automatically tracked? You don't want to. I don't either. I'm an idiot. I think about it like this. Fetch data is loading, update. Okay, next step. I can only think about like two things at the same time. Okay, little sidebar. In high school.
Remember, you like smiling.
I do. I was in AP Calculus. I failed college algebra, by the way, in college. But anyway, I was in AP Calculus, and on one of my tests, it said, solve the sixth root of this polynomial. And I was staring at it for like 5 minutes, and then I finally wrote, no. My teacher gave me 1 out of 8 points for that response. She was like, I've been grading papers all night, and that made me chuckle, so you get 1 point. But honestly, that's how I feel sometimes writing code. It's how I felt before early React, and it's kind of how I feel in the current flavor of all the front-end frameworks right now. The golden days of React in the beginning, though, it didn't feel like that. It didn't care about object identity. It didn't care about dependency tracking. It didn't care about any of that stuff. You said set state. You could set state with window, and like it was fine. It would read values from window. I need that simplicity again. So here we go. This should work. go to Alabama, loading, Birmingham. Pretty easy. Anyone astute out there know what my problem is, though? All right, so here's what I did. Every one of these down the list takes longer and longer. Like Kansas takes like 5 seconds probably, where Alabama takes like 300 milliseconds. So now I can make a mess. I can go to Kentucky, I can go to Illinois, and I can go to Arizona. Louisville, Arizona, Phoenix, Chicago, Arizona. I got problems, right? Okay, so how do we fix these problems? Every time, did you say the edge? Just make it faster. There are no race conditions when everything is fast. Be faster than the user, that's how you fix it. We're gonna create a DAG. Just actually what people on Twitter were saying was, I would just load every city in the world into the browser. As a principle in Remix 3, anytime you give us a function that we're going to call, so in this case, you gave dom.changeAFunction. Anytime you give us something and we're going to call it, we want you to be able to do whatever the heck you want inside of there. You should be able to have an async function in your change handler. So we need to give you a way to protect yourself from these kinds of race conditions. So every time you give us a function, we give you a signal. Not the other signals. So now I can come in here and I can just give this fetch a signal. The fetch API works with abort signals. And so if this signal gets aborted, the fetch will get aborted. If this JSON is gigantic, it could take some amount of time to actually parse. And so the user could get an erase condition there too. So I can also say, if signal had aborted, return. So after I do any async work, I can just like check, did I get re-entered, right? Here's one function, but as the user's clicking around on the select box, we're getting multiple calls to that function all in flight at the same time, right? Because it's asynchronous. So I select once, we call the function, and then that's in flight and it's waiting for stuff. I click it again, this one's in flight and it's waiting for stuff. When you re-enter that function, that's when Remix will abort the signal. So they're clicking around the select box, the second one comes in, we abort the signal. So when that fetch comes around, it'll see, oh, that signal got aborted, I'm gonna stop too. Or if this took a long time, your code checks, oh, that one got aborted, get rid of it. So you're just tossing out anything that is stale. And it allows you to just keep on writing your code exactly the way that you think about it. They did a thing, go into loading state, fetch some stuff, set some stuff, update again. So now, I should be able to come here to Louisiana and Hawaii and Alabama, and it's just Birmingham. Pretty cool. It's not a debounce, no. It's like a debounce.
Open the network tab.
Yeah. Who said that? I'm not gonna lie, I've been praying a lot lately over all this stuff. No, so abort controllers, when you give it to fetch, it throws. And so it doesn't go any farther in the stack. Yeah. Oh, that will too, so we don't actually need the second one? Yeah, okay, cool. JK, you don't need that. You're the one who told me I needed it yesterday. Like I said, I haven't seen people in a while. What do I have here? Why is it? It's so tiny, it's hard to see anything. Oh yeah, reload. Oh, it's just telling me reload the page so you can see things. All right, boink, boink, boink. So yeah, you can see that the fetches are actually being canceled, and we only take the latest one. So again, it's manual work on your part, just like saying here's when I want to update, and it's manual work to say, hey, I want you to abort this thing, but you don't always want the interaction to abort. Maybe they're clicking something and it's, I don't know, it's voting on some sort, I don't know what, and you want to allow all those things to go through and it doesn't affect the UI state. It's okay to just let everything fly. But when it does matter, we'll give you a signal and then you can deal with that. So you get this.signal that tells you when you're mounted or unmounted. The event callback signals, those ones abort when the function is re-entered, and they also abort when the component is disconnected. And you get one other signal in here. You get props here too, the latest props. And then you get a render signal here. You shouldn't use this one, but it's there. If you like set a timeout or something inside a render for some weird reason, then you can check that signal to see if you got rendered again to get rid of it. But I don't know. It's a rule. It's a rule. If you give us a function, we give you a signal. We don't know what you're going to do in there. As an exercise after this conference, I want you to go find my tweet about this UI and then look at all of the solutions people have posted. Maybe one day we'll do a dramatic reading of them. All right, what else we got here? Brooks, you're just going to have to kick me off because I don't even remember what time I'm supposed to end. I only have 15 minutes. All right. Only the guy's wife who's not a developer started falling asleep, so like I think we're doing good. I owe her like cookies or something after this. I'm sorry. I'm never going to a conference with you again. You can't make fun of me. You can't sit on the front row. It's like going to the comedy club and they're like, hey, who here's, I don't know. And then someone's like me, and then it's like, why did you raise your hand? You want to hide when they start talking to you. Okay, let's go to the entry. We got another one in here. No, not an M abbreviation. Library. What is this? Ugly. We are building a component library to go along with Remix. Oh, see, that's where the people get excited. Yeah. If you want to build, if you want to be a relevant player in the UI framework world, you got to have all these components that you can slap together into an app really quick, right? We're going for the full stack. Michael's going to talk about a bunch of back-end stuff. We're going for the full stack experience from soup to nuts. I got that from you. His dad is.
I don't know where I got it. I don't know.
You got it from your dad, I think. It's
an English phrase?
Yeah, and then I got give it the beans from Jacob. And he left. Oh my gosh. Everyone I'm calling out keeps on disappearing. All right, let's make this pretty. So anyway, we're building a component library. We started with kind of the hardest one. So I built a lot of components like this, accessible components, cards, avatars, drop-downs, menus, all this kind of stuff. So I went for the very hardest one first. As soon as we had a component model working at all in Remix, it was like, okay, I'm building a nested drop-down menu. And so we've got this thing already working on Remix. It's got all the smart things that you would expect, like hover intent, where it crosses over that boundary, like coming down here. It doesn't make the thing disappear. Actually, it works 3 levels if I'm fast enough, if I'm not trying to demo it. Anyway, it's got keyboard stuff on here. It's got events on there. Really cool. And then it's not just about all the little widgets either. We're building all the stuff. So let's make this a little bit prettier. I didn't practice this part very much, so we'll see if it even looks good. So we got this stack component, and we got these things that are all meaningful in the whole theme system. So along with the component library is theming as well. That's all based on CSS properties. So it's really easy to do with server rendering and everything else. So I'm going to add a stack around the menu example, and then let's add a stack around this one. Actually, I want to stack around all of them is what I wanted. And that's the really big one. We'll do XXL there. And let's do these ones medium. And then I got to close the list box one down there. One more. Yeah. Hey, we're getting somewhere. No, those are too big. This is so work in progress at the moment. Like, don't judge it too much. Just know that this is the scope of what we're trying to do. Now down here, I've got my little native select, and I'm gonna switch this thing up. Actually, let's put some more stacks in here. In the form, let's do small on that one. And all of that. Get those things. Oh yeah, that's kind of cool, whatever. I'll just stick with that. It's ugly, but it's fine. Let's wrap these ones actually. So this one's gonna be a row because I want those buttons to be next to each other. Whoop. Okay, kind of cool. Clean that up a bit. If we got a great designer. Oh my gosh, we do have a great designer. Tim, are you here? Yeah, Tim. Oh my gosh. This looks phenomenal here. We had he makes me want to level up so much. It's like, if he's going to design something that looks that awesome, I better build something that matches it. Let's turn this into a list box. So I'll import that from Remix library. And let's switch this into, yep, all capital options. You got it, bro. Make sure yep, got those imported. Boop. Yeah, that looks nice. And then down here, so this is actually going to be different. It's not going to be event.target.currentValue anymore. This is a list box. So we have a special list box.change. Can you see how this on prop is really cool? I hope you're starting to see it. It's the thing where I'm like, I'm not sure what people are going to think about that. And now you have the detail instead. And so that should still update this for us. Yep, banana, cherry. And like I said, this is work in progress, but like the details that we're sweating is like when you click this, apple is right below. When you click this, banana is right below your cursor. This is something that a lot of these custom components get wrong sometimes. And then down here,
just to be clear, right? Those are divs, right? Like I think that might have not been clear, right? You switch from a native select element.
Yeah.
And it worked so much like a native select element that I worry it might have gone. Whew.
Thank you. It's also using inside of the button a popover div. Look at that. This div lives inside of the button. That's wacky. Anyway, the popover API, talking about like gathering things that the platforms give us. Popover API is awesome. Goes to the top layer. It's got events. We got some special events on popover, so you can actually like add a popover target toggle. So like your button you can add an event to your button that listens for when the popover that it owns opens up. So it's kind of wild. You can, with these custom events, you can like connect things that generally aren't like connected. It's pretty cool. Well, I don't, like I said, don't have time for everything. The other thing here is these are real form elements. So when you submit them, we don't have a submit handler on our form yet. Let's get some form data. Oh, I already got form data in there. Cool. Prevent default. Yes, form data. Yep, thank you very much. This.update. Beautiful. Oh, and he's going to do the reset for me too. All right, fine. Let's do the reset as well. And really wow the people, cursor. Great job. Thank you. So if I choose banana here and submit, they will submit with real forms too. So they got actual inputs inside of them. And this is really fun. When you hit reset, watch this thing. Switches back to its default state because it's listening to the submit event of the form that it belongs to, which is what normal form elements do. So we're going to sweat all the little details on these custom components. They're going to be awesome. Here's a fun moment. Because these are custom events just built on the DOM, they work a little differently, right? Like your instinct on listbox is to have like on change here, right? This is what we're used to. And on select and on reset or whatever, right? That's going to be your natural instinct. But these are pretty interesting since they're actually events dispatched on the actual elements. I could just grab this on prop and I can be like, let's go, where do I want to go? Let's go into the, I'm just going to grab the whole thing. Here, let me add it to the form. Get rid of it here, come up to the form up top, and I can say, hey, let me know if the list box changes underneath you. Now I got just a list box down here, right? I don't know if I should clap. I'm not sure what just happened. It's kind of funny. The DOM is funny. If you have images inside of a div, you can say on load on this thing, right? Divs don't have anything to load. That is meaningless for a div, but load events bubble up. And so one div can handle the loads of all of its children. And you can do things with that, right? And so it's kind of interesting what kind of patterns are going to emerge where your list box dispatches real events that bubble up to parents. And so you can handle things up high, you can handle things down low, you can put them wherever you want them to go, to and fro. It's a native, it's custom event, so it bubbles just like everything else. Yeah. And you actually have control over that when you dispatch an event. So when we saw the createInteraction and you're dispatching in there, you can say bubbles false as well if you're like, this really shouldn't bubble. Like popovers don't bubble natively. Their events don't. One more thing, I think. Yeah, I got one more thing. Because they are native events. Oops, good grief. I want to go to that. Now, of course, it's not going to work. No, come on. You got to work. What's your problem? All right, I got that. That's happy. This is unhappy. Here's a 05. Yeah, I'm in the wrong one. Okay, this one is clearly not styled yet. But we got a little disclosure button. Check out my HTML over here. This is just an HTML file. RMX disclosure button. These are just web components. Look at this. Add event listener, disclosure toggle. Like I was saying, all of our events, the whole event system in Remix is just custom events. So they bubble through normal DOM. So they're already immediately compatible with the rest of the web, including web components. And then these little custom elements are kind of funny because what I did here is I defined a custom element on the DOM. And I said, all right, when you connect, go find the button, go find the content, wipe out your HTML. I should probably do like some kind of hydration here. This is just a proof of concept. And then I render remix disclosures, create a little remix root, and just drop the HTML from whatever the button had. And so you can build not only full apps with Remix, but you can just tuck it away into some web components and very easily make them compatible with the rest of the world. So if you're trying to build little parts of your app to maybe, I don't know, embed in some sort of AI chat app, maybe wrapping up your components inside of web components would be a good way to do it. So that's another one of the motivations for using custom events and trying to keep our model as simple as possible is so that it's as powerful as everything we've been using, but also able to get embedded into use cases that maybe we haven't thought a whole lot about before. I think I'm done.
All right. Let's hear it for Ryan Florence.